Good morning on what is a warm, bright and humid day. It is Sunday the 25th of June. I've got a nice hot cup of tea. And, of course, a box to continue unboxing. And what I've got here is a copy of Emissary Lost, Mercy of the Icons Part 1, the first part of the three-part campaign for Coriolis. Now, Coriolis is the science fiction role-playing game from Free League Publishing, which has a heavy Middle Eastern feel with strong religious themes around 12 icons, and it's set in a very far future where essentially 3 waves of colonization have been conducted out into the galaxy, and the third horizon, the setting for Coriolis, is the third and seemingly final wave, which has long lost contact with the previous 2 waves. So it's isolated and has developed apart from Earth for quite a few years. So, Ozone Plaza is silent. Only a low murmur is heard from the crowds, huddling around the info, the hollow screens in the souk. Yet it heralds a gathering storm. The air is thick with anticipation as you make your way towards the nearest terminal. A reporter on the hollow screen speaks gravely. The emissary from Zeni has disappeared. Street reporters called it the Mysticides. Scores of mystics have been found dead or disappeared without trace. Who is hunting the mystics of Coriolis and why? When a friend of the player characters disappears, it becomes personal. Can they solve the mystery before it is too late? Emissary Lost is the first part in the epic Mercy of the Icons campaign for the award-winning Coriolis, the Third Horizon role-playing game. The struggle for the horizon has started. Only the icons themselves know how it will end. Contents. So, a detailed background of the events and plots that threaten the balance of the Third Horizon. In the wake of the Martyr, an investigative scenario based on Coriolis Station. The hunt for clues will bring the characters to the bustling Warzone Plaza, to the decadent elites in the spire, and deep down into the darkness of the cellar. The Quan Connection, the second scenario in the book, takes the characters from the down to the surface of the planet Core. There they will follow a trail of blood through the jungles, immerse themselves in violent politics of the Zenithian colonies, and search the answers in the shadow of the mighty monolith. A number of maps and handouts depicting Coriolis Station, Planet Core, and important locations. A scenario generator that can be used to provide countless hours of play once the pre-made scenarios are completed. The game authors describe it as Arabian Nights in space, so yeah, there's the blurb. And what we've got inside, got a nice cover, so a sense of mystery there, and wonder what this might be. One of the icons, perhaps one of the emissaries. And we open up to, this is going to be presumably a map of the planet Core, or Cure, and credits page before we get on to contents page. And there's actually, you can see how little content essentially there is in the book. By that I mean there's lots of scenarios. Essentially there's 2 big scenarios. And each of these are broken. You've got an introduction, and these are broken down into sort of like 3 acts, and then you've got an epilogue as well. So introduction, this sets everything up, introduces the campaign and explains it. Now this is a essentially the campaign proper. It starts here, but there is an introductory scenario, the lost voyage of the Ghazali. Essentially, a ship that was sent to conduct a rescue mission in the Toan mining colony, and was lost, and the player characters were involved in. Ideally, if the player characters would have been involved in that, to best sort of really get the campaign started, you want to run that before you start with Emissary Lost. And then we have an overview of the first scenario before the Wake of the Martyr, the first scenario, begins itself. And throughout, you've got something really nice art, great artwork. You know, one of the things I like about Free League Publishing is all their content is really illustrated to a high standard that really give an impression of the settings and the games that they publish. And then it's into the scenario proper with an introduction. Now this, you can see the sort of like the nice clean, clear layout. And here we have an image of the icon of the martyr. Timeline. And then we get into sort of like the attack, which is sort of like the attack upon the mystics and getting involved. And we have notes on there for the referee on, you know, role playing the friend, because, you know, one of the things about having a role playing situation where, you know, you have a friend in peril is a standard kind of setup. You know, if you play Call of Cthulhu, you know, a friend has gone missing, you receive a letter from a friend, you receive their will, that sort of thing is quite common. So you really, it's kind of a good idea to sort of like set that friend up, you know, beforehand. And then we've got a scene from the Opera Spaceport, again, nicely, nice cartography. And then we get chasing down the fake guards. So, you know, there is a sense of like conspiracy and plans within plans going on here. We have deck plans of Coriolis Station. Scenes in the souk. Handout there. And then we have actual disappearance of the emissary. And starting seeing friends in high places. So, you know, there are factions within factions that are going to pull the characters into the scenario, as well as the disappearance of their friend. Then we have the emissary residence. So, you know, we've got an idea of that. Also, sort of gives a nice idea of what sort of like a nice sort of like residence on Coriolis kind of looks like. And then connecting the dots, and of course, you know, from the map, you know, that something as bad as happened from the blood splatters on the floor. Various NPCs involved, so nicely, you know, illustrated with you know, the portraits and figures. And what I like about the Coriolis setting is it's science fiction, not seen from a Western point of view. Basically, major location, Garden of Seekers on board the station, and so, you know, it's automatically this isn't a setting necessarily with aliens, you know, alien species, but rather it's the setting itself which is sort of alien. And then here we have the final act of the first scenario, the abyss, which takes the player characters down into the cellar, down into the bowels of Coriolis Station. I've got a description of the cellar, and this is followed by a cross view of Coriolis Station. That's really useful, in fact. So the cellar is all the way down here. And I've seen with the player character sort of proceeding down into the depths, and ironies, and the cellar, below almost like the slums of Coriolis, they have a slummer queen, not a summer queen, a slummer queen. So a bit more detail on this plan. This is for the game master. There's an earlier one for the benefit of the player characters. There's even a slum cemetery. And then the Martyr's Embrace, which is the final scene of the scenario, where they will encounter some warriors prepared to martyr themselves for the cause. And there's a little plan of the base. And again, we have that kind of sense of difference, even with the sort of the spaceships in the setting. Some seas. And the firefight itself. And the aftermath. So that's quite a lengthy scenario. So that's a really kind of like a multi-session scenario. You'll probably do sort of like you're looking at a couple of sessions at least for each of the acts, I would have thought. Then we have the QAnon conspiracy, connection. Sorry, not conspiracy, because I'm thinking about conspiracies for the whole thing, because it is quite a conspiratorial kind of campaign with the same kind of format. Introduction. Getting caught up. There will be slavers involved, unfortunately. Sorry, the bookmarks what I want to go for. Okay, Garrett is going to get lost in the jungle, which of course sets up quite a nice contrast between sort of like the not necessarily the austerity, but essentially the mechanical feel and the wars of the Coriolis station versus the rich, verdant jungle of the planet Cure, and of course, it both are going to feel constrained, but for different reasons. One for the obvious wars, the other for the sort of like the foliage and the trees and so on. There will be through. There will be an ambush once the player characters are in the jungle. This is perfect for that. Then we get to somewhere more open on the planet. And then we have an actual location of town by basin. And various NPCs. So smugglers, slavers, syndicate figures, criminal syndicate. Another handout, we've got a cargo manifest there. And then we're on to part 2. Part 2. And the whole campaign it's sort of built around the central mystery behind the Coriolis setting, which is that don't know who the emissaries, the nature and identity of the emissaries is unknown. Why has contact been lost between, the first and second, and then the third horizons? What's happened to the rest of humanity in the meantime? We've got another bustling city. Again, we almost got like a market or shanty town there. Just a sense of sort of like, alienness of this world. And here we have the monolith and its surrounds. You can sort of see it, an image of the monolith. We have slummers and pariahs, and even assassin. It's all it's all text at the moment. So it's like this sort of throughout, interspersed by images, and then you've got the player characters will of course now be interacting with criminal royalty. Just show that, because there's not much to really kind of necessarily show you or see. Banquet hall. Disaster banquet. Murder or poison? Murder, heart attack, poison. That brings in Act 2 to the end, and then we're into the Saltra marshes. Now we're going out to the dead marshes. And here we have the Heart of Darkness, the title there suggesting a situation akin to Joseph Conrad's novel, and of course the famous film adaptation Apocalypse Now. Not so the player characters will be travelling deeper into the marsh, and braving its dangers. Facing a great winged shadow, exploring some hospital ruins, making contact with another prophet, and discovering the messenger's whisperer. And that fearsome scene. And then we have ending Act 3 with that strange vessel scene, almost butterfly-like, and then an epilogue. And in the epilogue we have the aftermath, and then we're literally just page aftermath, and we're straight to the mission generator. So you can create missions sort of like from a few dice rolls, and we have suggestions. Throughout as well, so that's extra content. And then a list of the NPCs in the campaign, and then we have this, which I'm not quite sure what that is. Let's find out. We've actually got an extra scenario in the back. Oh, that's unexpected. So yeah, and that it comes with sort of an overview deck plans of the station where what's the name of the station? Foundation Station 7 as well. And we have descent to Zini. And a platform on board as well, basically on Zini. So that's extra content as well. So yeah, that is Emissary Lost. Mercy of the Icons Part 1 for Coriolis. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. If you have, then please do click on the like button down below. And of course, if you got any comments or feedback, I do appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you see me out here with a box containing a book or game which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice cup of tea. Then please do click on the subscribe button down below. Thanks again for watching another unboxing of the Nook. I will be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.